Awesome, welcome to the Rise and Grind podcast with visuals for the first time ever.
I know, it's a special edition.
Shout outs, Shot by TV. So we've just finished the Strength In Depth weekend, or at least our expectation of that weekend, and we're just going to do a bit of a review of the time that we've had down here.
It's been a busy few days.
It's been a very busy couple of days, and we've crammed a lot in. Really cool competition. I'm sure we're going to get into the details of it a little bit more in a second. So I guess first of all, Sarah, it's your first CrossFit competition.
Yeah.
What did you think?
I think it's just the first time I've seen actually anyone do CrossFit outside of video.
Oh.
Really? Yeah. Aside from like watching you do stuff in terms of at the gym. But yeah, it's the first time I've seen anything officially CrossFit. So it was interesting to say the least. It's obviously sort of the events that we were seeing were predominantly elite male, elite female, and I think we saw a couple of the team and a few of the masters today. But yeah, it's a lot different seeing it in person than it is seeing it on video.
Yeah, in what way?
I think obviously, and it was something you pointed out to me yesterday, when you see it visually, you're seeing like a dramatized version of it, so you're seeing it with like cool shots and things sped up or things slowed down. So it's not that it doesn't look as good, but it just looks very normal. So it looks like just really, really fit people doing things very well.
It's almost like that's what it is.
No, yeah, exactly. But and obviously you have the crowd atmosphere as well, which I saw more today, obviously, because there's more effectively to play for, because people were fighting for...
So this was the last day today?
Yeah, so people were fighting for specific spots. So there was more of an energy, whereas I think yesterday at some points there wasn't that energy to it.
Yeah, fair enough. And I guess, when you... Or at least when I had just watched the CrossFit documentaries, I saw these people as sort of gods among us. And I sort of put them all on a pedestal and stuff. So when you're seeing these high-level athletes in person, you kind of... It's weird because you know who they are. You're actually... I mean, we are probably quite engaged in their life. We know a lot about them, but they don't know anything about us. So it's that sort of celebrity culture. But really, because whilst CrossFit has grown massively over the past few years in particular, and is reaching a bigger audience, no one has yet to transcend the sport in the same way like a Usain Bolt has, right?
Yeah.
So in essence, you still get that feeling of normality when you're seeing even Mat Fraser walking around or Rich Froning walking around. Like, it's cool because... Well, from my perspective, I've idolised those people as competitors, and just in regards to their fitness, but in essence, they're just normal guys who are extremely good at what they do, and are obviously reaping the rewards in competition, right?
Yeah, I think the point of more about them. I've only ever experienced it more with musicians. It's like seeing artists that I have looked up to or listened to for years and years, and then seeing them live. I remember the first time I saw Beyonce, I spent the first 20 minutes of the concert in awe of the fact that Beyonce was a real person. And it was a little bit like that, particularly when we saw Fraser the first time. Like, he came out and I was like, oh my God.
It's weird, right?
Yeah, it's really weird. It is odd anytime you see anyone that you've only seen online in person.
I don't know if that's if there's a wider sort of societal commentary to do with that, because especially in the age of social media where everyone is posting a lot more about themselves and their lives. So it's not like it was even in maybe the early noughties, where most of the understanding you'd have of anyone that is a sort of in the public eye was through like tabloid. Yeah. Now, like, you have direct control over what you put up about yourself on social media.
Exactly.
So as a result, you can actually share a lot more of your story, and you have that sort of investment. So for us, for example, we're a big fan of Sammy, who's Mat Fraser's girlfriend, who has a company called Feeding the Frasers, which is she posts like incredible recipes and stuff up online, and Matt O'Keefe, his manager, I know things about him. Whereas like if we take this to a different sort of thing like acting and DiCaprio, I don't know who manages DiCaprio, and you have to
be very, very invested in like an actor or a musician.
I think one of the things about CrossFit that still appeals though is the fact that people still seem very real. Like they still seem that, like, don't get me wrong, Fraser is on another planet in terms of his fitness, but like he still seems like quite an accessible person.
Yeah.
Whereas I don't feel like I will ever be in the same room as DiCaprio.
Yeah. Like,
do you know what I mean? Like,
I think there was points where you'd see athletes just walk past you and you can be like, oh, cool. And I didn't get the same sort of awestruck feeling that I've had before. Which is a good point, actually. But it's still... One oddly of the things, considering how big the event was, is that it made CrossFit seem very small.
Yeah, right. Which it is.
Because everyone knows each other. And you'd have people coming up, like you'd see people walking over and being like, oh, hey mate, hey, da, da, da. And I think that sort of leads on to the community point, because there is this sense of community that you don't get when you just view it in the way that I viewed CrossFit before. Does that make sense?
So obviously, like, CrossFit is renowned for having this this great sort of air of community where everyone cheers on everyone, no matter where you are, and there's a lot of sort of socials that happen in just ordinary gyms and stuff. There's a big emphasis on training together, not being like you go to a global gym, everyone's got headphones in. That doesn't happen in a CrossFit setting typically. But that expands to being at a competition like Strength In Depth, which in essence is similar, not too dissimilar to like an expo. I mean, it's a competition first and foremost for sure, but they have like a lot of other stuff going on around the venue and stuff, which we'll come to later. You're right. Like obviously, so I've been in the sport for a few years, and really in the last year in particular, I've sort of gotten to know different individuals, and it is weirdly kind of bumping into people all the time that you actually and even if you don't know them, even if you've never maybe spoke to them in person, you might see someone that, like, you see a lot of people that you know of, and that's weird in itself, right? Because it goes back to that point about you know a lot about people who don't know anything about you.
Well, that was one of the team athletes today who I followed on Instagram for years. She was posting about how she'd ripped her hand.
Who's this?
McCoy.
Shelley McCoy. CrossFit Shelley.
Yeah, and I could see her in the final event.
Yeah.
And I wanted to be like, oh, I wonder how her hand is doing, which is something that you would never like think to do for a normal person. But I was like, oh, that's weird.
Yeah.
I hope everything's all right, which is, I guess it's just opening you up to like a new network of people.
Yeah. I mean, it's fantastic in that sense.
Yeah.
And I think that's the other thing as well, is whilst, as in all walks of life, there is ego.
Yeah.
For the most part, everyone's up for chatting to you.
Yeah.
Even if it's briefly. And everyone will give you the time of day. Hopefully you sort of experience that over the weekend. If we go into more depth on the community side of things, there are a few events in particular where the crowd was just enormous. Like, we're talking like, I would argue, like football crowd levels of noise.
Yeah.
To cheer people on. Like, so I don't know. For example, there was the last event was heavy overhead squats as the last component of the workout. And you see it, you're just hearing this wall of noise encouraging maybe the last athlete or the last couple of athletes to finish it or to get that last rep if they're really struggling. And it gives you, or it gave me goosebumps anyway, like, because I guess because my own understanding of CrossFit and my own involvement within CrossFit has developed over the time that I first got introduced to it, I forget about that a little bit.
Yeah.
Forget about, because especially my first year of it, that really drew me to CrossFit. The games, seeing all these incredible athletes and stuff. And I was sort of less critical of it in a way. And just going back to that wall of noise, it made me feel more emotionally involved with what was going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if no one was that bothered, then I probably would have remained unmoved. Whereas because everyone's getting behind it, and it's hard not to get involved.
Well, there was points where I was like, "Am I about to start crying?" Like when, which is one of my favorite moments of the event, which we'll get onto because it's something I know we share. The ladies' top 5, or the ladies when they were talking about invites to the games.
Yeah.
And forgive me if I butcher anyone's names. I had a very enthusiastic Instagram follow spree after yesterday. So a lot of the athletes that I saw were relatively new to me. I'm just putting a disclaimer in there now. But so going into the final event, there was the top 4 athletes all were already going to the games. And so there was the one invite, potentially. Actually, yeah. One of them
it was guaranteed.
Yeah, it was guaranteed that
someone would get an invite. But basically, if you've already qualified for the games, then it gets shuffled down the path. For example, if first place is already going to the games, second place gets it. If the top 2 have already got the tickets, third place gets it, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, and it was after the women's final event, which was insane. And we were waiting. The whole crowd was waiting to hear if Kelsey Cale had got. Is Kelsey?
Kelsey Cale, yeah.
Yeah, I was like. Her name right had got the invite to the games, and it was just a moment of sort of silence.
Weird, right?
It was really surreal.
Super contrasting to the wall of noise that I was describing. Honestly, I feel like if I'd have spoken at this level that I'm speaking to you right now,
the entire stadium would have heard.
On the other side of the stadium would have heard. That was weird.
And the camera that they had on her was just on her face, and I this is where we cut to Tom's footage of me clutching at my heart.
And sorting your hair out.
Yeah. And they announced that she got the invite to the games, and it was just this boom of noise, and it felt like, the moment in a superhero film when the music starts. Okay, in Endgame when
spoilers going
when you see Cap stand up against Thanos, and you're like, oh, all hope is lost. And then
on your right.
Yeah, isn't it on your left?
On your left.
Yeah.
And the portals start opening.
And you get that big swell of emotion. Right. It felt like that for this woman that I first saw yesterday, and it was just this great emotional feeling, and then it finished, and I was kind of just left feeling like I was about to start crying for this woman who I have no emotional or I don't know her.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a big. It kind of freaked me out a bit. I was like, why am I showing so much investment in these athletes? But it was great. That was probably my favourite bit of the weekend, actually.
Yeah. So the ladies' competition in particular was really tight. Mm-hmm. On the men's side, we had Fraser, who did Fraser things and ran away with it. He finished with over 100 points clear of the next competitor over 7 events, which is nuts, right?
It's dominated.
We'll get to Fraser in a bit, but the ladies' comp going into the last event, there's 6 points separating first and second. You got Kelsey Cale, who's in 5th place, which is the guaranteed spot at this point because the top 4 had already got invites to the games. You had Kelsey Cale in 5th place, who was sitting in that pole position. But I think there was a scenario that if she hadn't have finished well in that last event, she still could have lost out.
Yeah.
And someone else. So, the pressure's on. Mm-hmm. And the last event is 21, 15, 9. So you got 21 calorie ski, 15 overbar burpees, 9 overhead squats at a heavy weight for most people, right?
Yeah.
Say most people, because some people made it look ridiculously light. They made it look how I look, maybe 30 kilos look. So anyway, so really the main competitors you had Laura Horvath.
Yeah.
Who's had just a really interesting career, and we can spend a long time talking about her. You had Hayley Adams, who's this upstart from America
like
who's just
tiny firework of a human being.
Just phenomenal for her age.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think she might be the most impressive athlete of the weekend in just because of where she's at in her career. Like, honestly, give her I'd say give her 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
If she doesn't win the games within 5 years of this podcast going out,
you're gonna do another bet.
I'll make meal prep for you for 2
God.
weeks.
I'm fine. I think I will not take that bet.
I will. Anyway, and then who else did we have?
Gabrielle.
I can't remember her last name. She was Swedish, is that right?
Polish, I think. Oh God. We just look at terrible
Gabrielle,
people.
who came third.
Yes.
We're not going to try and butcher.
No, she came second.
Did she? Did
Haley Adams came third?
There we go. Wow, apologies. So you had this amazing sort of top four already, who had already either guaranteed their spot through the Open. Actually, they would have all guaranteed their spot through the Open.
Yeah.
So there's either national championships or top 20 finishes. That's the other thing about Haley Adams, finishing top 20 in the worldwide.
Yeah.
At her age.
I was amazed by how tiny she is.
She's 19.
But purely physically, size-wise, because one of the things I really like about CrossFit is that it's strong people. So everyone looks,
Yeah, whether you're male or female, everyone's got a strong body.
Yeah, but the body diversity, because obviously you've got some people in that competition who tilt multiple weightlifting, some who sort of
gymnasts.
Yeah, exactly.
Capacity.
But she is this tiny human who you're just seeing keep going and going and going and going. And
mad.
Yeah. But yes, back to the event.
Yeah, so the last event, so you've got Laura Holvarth and Kelsey Keogh. Now bear in mind, at this point Laura Holvarth is vulnerable, she's 6 points in it. You got Kelsey Keogh who wants that spot, and that last event, it was about how much she wanted it. She wanted it, she had to get it.
Yeah.
And it was her versus Laura Horvath.
They were going rep for rep at one point.
Rep for rep, right? Both of them are carrying the bar between each sort of broken up section of the reps overhead, which in itself, that bar is wanting to move all over the place.
Yeah.
Oh, just electric. Just really sort of entertainment at its purest point. And
it was just the way that they made it seem like melted butter. They were just literally it looked like the weight was nothing to them.
Yeah.
I couldn't comprehend how some of them made it look so easy.
And some of them made it look so hard.
Yeah.
The contrast. And you got to think, right, all these competitors have gotten to this competition.
Yeah.
So, in theory, they should all be of a comparative level.
Yeah.
You're going to expect to see a disparity at some point. That's the point of competition, right? Is it separates people up. But there was disparity, man.
Mm-hmm.
There were people that, every rep looked like a 1 rep max.
Yeah.
And then you had other people that looked like they could have,
kept going for it, yeah.
Yeah, so that was crazy. Just to talk about the men's side of things, like we said, Fraser dominated in Fraser fashion. And it's one of those things, I feel like I'm doing him a discredit if I say that it takes away from the competition just how dominant he is. It is, without a doubt, incredible to see someone be able to perform at that level.
Yeah.
But it's also not very interesting to see it from a competition perspective. Yeah. I always use this analogy about Formula 1, right? The best Formula 1 race is last lap, last corner, 3 drivers come around that bend abreast, and
you're trying to see,
and you're just it's who's gonna break first into the corner, and that's what was exciting about the ladies, right?
Yeah.
There was something at stake. As much as I love to see Fraser do his thing, I mean, he looks like how those athletes would look if any of them trained with me. Right?
Yeah.
The disparity would be that big.
He's
just on another level. The 2 events that he didn't win was the run, which is a speciality event, and the row, which is a speciality event. anything that's true CrossFit, meaning
he was
a broad test of fitness, he more than dominated, right?
And it wasn't even a sense of just him winning. Just going into it, it looked like he was on a completely different level to everyone else. It's like he had this like secret like cheat code. I'm not suggesting he cheated. I like to put that out there. But it's like he just like hacked his way around it and was kind of like, oh, we'll just do this.
Yeah. I mean, what I loved about seeing Fraser is I thought the only way out I would ever see Fraser is if I went to the games.
Yeah.
So being able to see him in person, for me, was special. Same with Fronin, like, I'm seeing these people that, I guess I never, because of how the structure used to be with regionals and stuff, I never thought that they'd be in London, other than on like maybe promo work, and even then, normally that's balloted in terms of whether you get to go as like average Joe. So like to be able to see someone like that in real life,
it's just
do that. It's demolition. It's he is a wrecking ball to that competition. Like he comes, and you feel like you could just turn it on. So like he came off the ski erg like 4th.
Yeah.
And those burpees were quick. Like he flew through those burpees. He gets to the bar, he's neck and neck over Lenkovic. They go like rep for the first 3 reps, and then all of a sudden Fraser gets to like the last set of 3, and he's like over a rep ahead of Lenkovic at this point. Lenkovic is finishing his 6th rep before even having to walk to his 7th, and they end up finishing within like a second of each other. And I would argue that's only because Fraser staggered on his last rep. Like.
It's
unreal, and we'd seen a massive performance from Joshua Al-Sharma in the second heat, and he'd gone and broken on the overhead squats, and you thought, nah,
no one can do this.
Tom asked me, he was like, call it then, like anyone beating Al-Sharma? I was like, nah, that was like something else. Like, there's no time to be saved. I'm pretty sure Fraser finished like 40 to 50 seconds quicker than Al-Sharma.
It's just
how, right? Mind blowing.
Like, I think it's when we saw, was it event 6 today, the 4 rounds with the yoke?
Yeah, so it was 4 rounds. It was 3 rope climbs, handstand walk, 3 rope climbs, yoke carry, 4 rounds of that.
Yeah, and there was points where I was looking.
There was another handstand walk.
Yes, before the yoke climb, Yeah,
so it was rope climb, handstand walk, yoke carry, 4 rounds of that.
And there was points where I was looking at him and I was like, he seems to be genuinely around ahead of people, like easily like a round and a half ahead of.
So again, right, start of that event.
Yeah.
There's like 3 people, including him, all at the same pace.
Yeah.
You think, here we go, someone like actually going to push him. By the end of round 2, he had a clear lead.
Is it like I don't know whether it's just he's got this insane stamina.
Capacity, it's just capacity. It's just unreal. And like I said, like I don't want to take it away from him. Like he works hard to be that good, and all those athletes work really hard to be where they're at. Fraser is just whatever he has that allows him to perform at that level.
It's just
is unique to him.
Yeah.
Like that's not something I think anyone else can get by pure performance upgrades.
Yeah.
There are people that are as strong as him. There are people that have the same sort of engine as him. What's different is that sort of a balance between being broadly fit.
Yeah, and I think the closest that I got to sort of experiencing that was when we saw the team event on Saturday.
Yeah.
And we saw Mayhem do the one. Is it like a?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was robotic. They were all just so insanely in sync to the point of where it looked like
fake.
Yeah.
Almost.
Like I was watching it and I was like, this doesn't seem real, because you were watching the other teams who'd obviously practiced. They've trained. These are all incredible athletes.
Yeah.
But you just see them sort of like there's natural changes because they're all 4 individual people, whereas Mayhem just seemed like one team of like one brain of one person, and just insane.
Yeah, isn't it? I mean, I think as well, like, one of the things to talk about is definitely the workouts themselves and how they were programmed. So that last workout in particular, which was the ski erg, the burpees, and the overhead squats. So, like, in theory, it's a sprint workout. Like, a lot of people did that in less than 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Fast, right? That's how, like, a last event should be, because the thing is, when it's over a short time, people are finishing a lot tighter together.
Yeah.
Like, the pack is a lot tighter in. The only people that weren't finishing that workout quick were people that aren't strong, basically, because that was the difference maker. So if you could do those overhead squats, so that meant that we had that excitement in that last event. Brilliant programming. The event you mentioned, the rope climbs, the handstand walks in the yoke.
Yeah.
Fantastic, because they tax different components, right? Yeah. So you have the core and the legs being taxed in the rope climbs, and the grip to some extent. You have the technical element of the handstand walks, but it's predominantly shoulders right there again. And then you have the yoke carry, which is kind of midline stability and also sort of strength. So you have got all these multiple components being tested in one event, rather than overtaxing one element. You got to see, again, going back to Fraser, that broad fitness. Like, can you be efficient enough with your rope climbs to move quickly? Can you be speedy enough on your hands and not overdo it to the point where you're having to take 2 regular breaks? What's your lactic threshold in essence? And then, like, is your core strong enough to carry 250 kg on your back?
Like, I mean, you were seeing people who would breeze through the handstands, breeze through the rope climbs, and then they get to the yoke carry, and they'd be like swerving all over their lane, and you're just like, this is insane. This is insane to watch. In a really great way, though. Yeah. It's super, super fun.
I think we're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about how the competition has sort of impacted your opinion in particular about CrossFit, and we're going to talk about other things that we did this weekend that are away from Sid. So we will be right back. Alright team, so we are back. So you were saying that this weekend has sort of altered your perception a little bit, or your opinion of CrossFit. In what way?
I think it's made it more of a reality, if that makes sense, which sounds weird saying it out loud. It made me, for one, want to actually train at a box more, as in, like, go to a class. Because your coaching's terrible, Alex. No. I think more in the sense of it. Like, after the event, after the last women's event yesterday, and seeing Kelsey Hale do the cleans so easily, all I could think about the rest of the day was, like, all I want to do is learn how to do that.
Yeah.
And put that. And I thought going into it that I would see the conditioning of some of these athletes and be like, oh, wow, I wish I was, as, like, I had the aerobic capacity of that, which obviously I still wish I had the aerobic capacity of all of these athletes, but just the pure displays of strength, I was like, this is what I want to do. I want to be able to do this, and it was very motivating from that sense. When I think I was slightly worried that it wouldn't be motivating, it would just make me feel bad, but it didn't, which was nice.
Interesting.
That was fun. And someone asked me if I was a CrossFit coach, so I felt very complimented by that. I was like, no, but thank you for thinking that I could be.
Yeah.
But it changed it, I think, for the positive, as an overall.
Yeah.
I don't think it made it worse. That sounds bad. It wasn't bad to begin with, but I don't think it had a negative impact on me. I think it had a more positive impact.
Sure.
A lot of people in CrossFit do look the same. Like, looking around, you're, like, seeing a lot of similarities, which I think is a whole separate thing to get onto. But yeah, people seemed quite nice in general, so that was nice.
Yeah.
I think it was a positive experience for me to get to see how happy CrossFit makes people. And seeing like little kids, like I saw a kid, I mean, I'm just an emotional person, as evidenced by the fact I almost cried today. Like seeing families there and seeing parents take their kids and see, like, just see them get excited about something is really nice.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a very positive experience from that aspect. So I think my overall view of CrossFit as a sport, I don't think has changed that much because I'm still insanely impressed by everything about it.
Yeah.
But my view of CrossFit for me personally, like I feel a lot, I don't want to say like I feel a lot more in the community, but I feel a lot better connected.
Yeah, right.
Makes sense. I think because you're seeing like a visual representation of it.
Well, I think that's the thing as well. Like because you've never trained in a gym, like a CrossFit gym, sorry, and because you've never attended like an event like that, everything is sort of like there's no tangibility to it.
Yeah.
Whereas now you've seen it, you've seen that these people actually exist and that they are real, like you said, and in a sense that they are just human, right?
Yeah.
But very impressive humans at that. So I get how that sort of makes things more real for you. I think for me, I think because my sort of attitudes and opinions around movement in particular have changed over the past year in particular. It's one of those things like I'm not always impressed by the overall performance. So for example, like if someone does think something very fast, that's not as impressive to me as someone who moves really well. And I get it, like you're under a time component, you're meant to be doing things as quickly as possible. And what you find in it is during these tests is that because people are under that time component, you know, shortcuts are created or end up happening, and I would prefer not to see that. It's a tough one. Like that sounds like it's sort of taken away from it. It's even to do it even to move in a non-virtuous way fast is in some ways still quite impressive, but I just worry that constant exposure to the community, that actually to be this successful at this high level you have to, like, not have to, but like most people move that way, right? It encourages bad behaviour. And as a coach, which is ultimately my job, like I don't want to encourage that. Like I don't want to tell my members to be moving in certain ways that are basically increasing the risk of injury, right? So that's where my critique comes into it, and that's not down to the programming of the events. That's down to the individual athletes and their own training, in essence. You know, one of the things I was saying to you is like, I see some athletes and they're like, I don't know, they're constantly complaining about like how things haven't worked out for them at certain events and stuff, and I'm just like, maybe it would have worked out better if you didn't train in such like a poor way. Like you haven't earned those positions, right? You know, we talked about Fraser, right, on his toaster bar, 75 toaster bar, and his sort of kipping movement, his beat swing, to achieve his toaster bar, nearly up to the 75th rep. It was like beautiful. So it was efficient, right? When he's doing his handstand walks, legs are flailing around a little bit, but his hips are well stacked over his shoulders. So, you know, I've got time for that. Renowned for his weightlifting because of his background. So the clean and double under event, he's lifting under fatigue and his cleans are still looking damn good. Right? So, I think in terms of how competition has altered my perception, it's not necessarily that this competition has altered my perception, but I just think because of my role within the community has changed over the past year.
Yeah.
So too has my attention when I'm watching these events.
Yeah. I think, and naturally you become slightly jaded with anything if you're in it for, because you kind of get, I know that I right now am in that sort of newbie, it's the whole point of the podcast, I'm in that newbie like excited, everything is great, oh my god, this is incredible.
Yeah.
With anything to do with whether it's CrossFit, whether it's weightlifting, I'm just like, this is the best thing ever.
But that's good.
It's super great. Like I love this enthusiasm.
I don't want people to not be enthused.
Yeah.
I don't want people to come away from a competition and be like, well, they didn't move perfectly, so I guess I'm not going to take part. Like, I want people to aspire to that level of performance, but do it well. Like, don't aspire to the non-desirable attributes of that of the movement qualities that some of those athletes have. It's not applicable to all athletes, but some athletes it's very applicable to. How many people did we see get buried by bars this weekend?
Look painful at points.
How many, on the cleans in particular, how many people are rushing their setup?
Yeah.
Like, so yeah, anyway. I mean, I could
Would you say that their movements lacked integrity? And as we know, integrity over everything.com.
I have nothing to add to that. Anyway, let's move away from strength in depth now. Actually, one last thing, give me your rating out of 10 for the competition as a whole.
For the competition as a whole, I'm going to give it a solid 7.7.
That's very precise.
Yeah.
Cool. What would you like to see more of? We talked about all the great things about it.
I think some of the commentating, I
left a bit to be desired.
Yeah, a little bit. And then just some of the practicalities of the arena.
Right. So that would be my critique is I would just prefer tiered seating rather than a standing area because it basically negated the majority of like the first half of the seating area because everyone stood up in front of you so you can't see
anything.
I went to regionals to Berlin, to Madrid, and I saw and all that was tiered seating. It worked far better. It was democratic. And just in general gave you a way better view of the competition. So when we finally got to sit down today, which by the way was the first time all weekend, great. All of a sudden we had a great perspective. So I would like tiered seating. Other than that though, I actually think it was a very well rounded comp. Ran to time for the most part. I think the standards were maintained. I think there was a good energy there. I talked about I really like the workouts that were programmed. I think the competition was cool, man. Like in terms of like the ladies' competition was very open, and actually like the guy that came second is the guy that David Shrunky, who's the guy that got the invite to the games. So behind Fraser, it was really open and interesting as a result. So I got to give it to the team that organised it and say like a solid event. Yeah. So then to move away from Sid and to talk about some of the other things that we've done this weekend. So on Friday. It's been a long week. Friday went to CrossFit Central London to meet up with a friend of mine called Kieran Douglas Jones, who we've got a podcast coming with next week. And Kieran I met at Strength In Depth last year. I knew him through Instagram. He's a great coach. Has an awesome business called Fortin Training. So he now coaches out at CrossFit Central London. Went and recorded the podcast with him, and then I did one of the workouts that his company provides, which has left me destroyed for the whole weekend. My glutes have been on fire for the whole damn time. Yesterday I went over to lift the movement and got coached by Angus there in ring muscle ups for an hour, and then handstands for an hour. Really beautiful gym in Shoreditch with a fantastic coach whose focuses on integrity over everything. And so that was cool. That was a really cool experience, actually. I had a great time there. And then today, what did we do this morning, Sarah?
We went to the Shard, which... It's fine that you almost got my name wrong. It's fine. No problems. It's okay, Alex.
We can edit this.
I'm leaving it in.
Oh, God.
So, this morning, we got up, had a bit of a lie-in, and went to the Shard. Went up to Sky Deck. It was very cold. It was fun though. It was nice to see all of London.
Yeah, we met my dad. Basically, I bought him that experience for Christmas, and he was there with his partner. And yeah, we had spent the morning mooching around that area, didn't we? Mm-hmm. That was good. I enjoyed the Shard. Really cool views. It was quite overcast, and I still feel like we had a great view.
Yeah.
I don't know, me and Tom went to Amsterdam in November and went up nowhere near as high a building, but had a similar experience where you go to the top deck, you have a viewing platform, and you can see the majority of the city. And it's just really cool. I just quite enjoy those sort of experiences. Just gives you a big perspective. We were talking about how vast London is and the sheer quantity of people.
It's crazy. Well,
you cannot quantify it.
No.
Even seeing it from that perspective, it's like seeing a 1,000-piece puzzle.
Yeah.
Right?
No, it's true. It's true. I'm now just comparing, I'm just seeing, the EastEnders opening. Just as a puzzle.
Yeah.
But no, it's crazy. It's a good, and if you can we used a voucher for it, so we get it for half price. So if you can get a Groupon or something.
Yeah, perfect. Right.
It's really good, especially if you've got people who are visiting London.
Mm-hmm.
I think I discovered today that I have a surprising knowledge of the city that I lived in for a year and a half. I'd be like, oh, that's that building, that's that building, that's that building. Whereas I always consider myself not really knowing anything about London, despite living here.
Yeah, no, it's great. So yeah, a really cool weekend on a whole. I guess I just want to extend my thanks, first of all to you, Sarah, who sort of suggested this in the first place. Mm-hmm. Second of all to Tom for giving up his weekend to come down and film, and hopefully we've got some great video content as well, which you can see on the YouTube channel, Road to Rise, over the next few weeks, depending on how quickly we can get it turned around. I'd like to say thanks to Kieran for coming on the show. I'm looking forward to releasing that and seeing what you guys think, and to CrossFit Central London. Mm-hmm. Thanks to Royal Docks CrossFit, who we popped into, and David Marshall, who's the owner there. Joey Priest as well for making several appearances. Thanks to Angus and the team at Lift the Movement for some really cool stuff. Thanks to Ollie Mansbridge and his wife for a great competition at Strength In Depth, and all the competitors that were there. It's been a whirlwind of a weekend. We've fitted a load in. Just really excited to sort of come back.
Yeah, I'm gonna be like, Alex, I only want to do cleans from now on. And you're like, Sarah, this isn't programmed in. I'm like, no, I am Laura Hall.
Alex, I only want to do cleans. Okay, well, my car could do a really good one.
Just see me in the gym with
sort that out, please.
with the PVC pipe, just like, ah! Yeah.
1 rep max. Cool. So anyway, you can find me online anywhere at @Parkinson_UK, at Rise Fitness UK, and at Integrity over everything. You can find Sarah at
Sarah.Deacon on Instagram.
And you can find the man behind the camera at _shot by TV. The man, the myth, the legend. Adios. Until next time, team.
Bye, guys.